Your stories, our community. This is Local 5 News with Chris Schuler and meteorologist Chad Raeflisberger.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm McKenna Retmeister. Missouri officials have provided an update on the case of the two missing Wisconsin brothers. They say human remains have been found within the search area in Missouri. At a press conference, the Clinton County Sheriff said the remains have not yet been identified and no cause of death was given. Nick and Justin Diemel were in Missouri on a business trip and have not been seen since July 21st. Because of the amount of time that has been passed, officials are calling this a death investigation. Fundraising efforts are underway to help the Diemel family in light of the tragedy. After hearing about Nick and Justin's disappearance, a friend of Nick's came up with a logo to keep the Diemel family in people's thoughts. Since then, the logo has taken off and is being put on merchandise to help raise money for the family.
I didn't think that it would get put on clothing and on the news and all over the place. I mean, it's just kind of out of control, but it's for a good thing. I mean, I'm glad it got so widespread. It's for a good reason. So hopefully it just keeps growing, I guess.
All the proceeds will go to the Diemel Family Fund. Two brothers in the Fox Valley are hoping to do their part to help the Diemel family. Chad Duncan and his brother Brian own Grainworks and are auctioning off a whiskey barrel patio table online, with the proceeds going to the Diemels. The brothers had known Nick Diemel since they were teenagers, and they say hosting the online auction allows them to feel less helpless as they continue to watch the details of the case unfold.
Throwing a little bit the way of the family and hoping that more business owners step up. There's quite a few doing stuff already, but a little bit more, every little bit helps.
The table is being auctioned off the brothers' Facebook page, and bidding ends Thursday at 5 p.m. We'll have a link to their site on our website at wearegreenbay.com. In news from the Fox Cities, Appleton held a ribbon-cutting ceremony to officially open the newly renovated Jones Park. The city budgeted just over $4 million with the project, which includes a pavilion walkway and lots of green space. Principal Financial Group donated playground equipment to create a family space, and Myron Construction donated a new $1 million amphitheater, rounding out the park's construction.
This isn't one person's idea, one person's dream. This is several people, several groups all coming together and coalescing around a common vision and then figuring out a way to make it happen.
Jones Park will serve as a main stage venue for this weekend's Mile of Music, with performances scheduled on Friday and Saturday. And down in Oshkosh, new life is on the way for the former home of the Pioneer Inn. The city of Oshkosh has announced renovation plans for Pioneer Island, which includes a marina, a 12-unit resort, campsites, and a restaurant. Before that can happen, the island will need to undergo dredging to make the marina suitable for boating, which could cost the city as much as $2 million. The land itself is also owned by the DNR and State Public Bureau of Public Land. However, with local art developer Art Dumpke leading the project, the city is hopeful cooperation can be achieved.
He has an appreciation for the history of the Pioneer, and he's a big boating advocate. So he knows what the potential of the marina is.
The public will be able to access the Pioneer Island by land with the Riverwalk, which is about 80% complete. Making national headlines, with the prices for prescription drugs getting more and more astronomical, the Trump administration is clearing the way to import lower-cost prescription drugs from Canada. As Katherine Johnson reports, it's still a long road before consumers start getting their relief.
The Trump administration says it is open to having low-cost prescription drugs come into the United States from Canada.
We think there's a real opportunity here where they can manage bringing drugs into the United States from Canada in a way that does preserve the safety of the American system.
Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar announced states, wholesalers, and pharmacies can now submit plans on how they would import certain drugs from Canada that are versions of FDA-approved drugs.
For decades,
certain classes of drugs, including intravenous drugs, are excluded from this program. In other local news, one health professional is leading the pack in promoting a healthy, active lifestyle by getting in some exercise in the shadow of Lambeau Field. It's through a program called Lambeau Lap, and it's getting people out of the house and on their feet. The group meets every Wednesday morning at 6:45 at Bell & Health Titletown Sports, Medicine, and Orthopedics for a 1.4-mile walk around the historic stadium.
I felt that maybe it's time for me to at least make my own leap and walk with the patients in the community so that I can, encourage them and be part of their journey to help them through this process so that they can also indulge in an active lifestyle.
Everyone is welcome to join in on the weekly Wednesday morning walks. Turning to a Local 5 Consumer Watch report, Capital One is being sued following a security breach that exposed the personal information of 106 million people in the U.S. and Canada. The lawsuit seeking class action status was filed by a Connecticut resident who said he's a Capital One credit card consumer whose personal information was compromised. Capital One said the breach exposed about 140,000 U.S. Social Security numbers and 80,000 bank account numbers. And a credit card will be made by Apple debut sometime in August. CEO Tim Cook made the announcement during the company's earnings call yesterday. Apple will make a physical card, or users can still use their iPhone at a payment terminal. Cook said some of his employees have been testing out the card. Today is National Heat Stroke Prevention Day, and the group Kids in Cars says so far this year, at least 24 children have died after being left behind in hot cars. Some automakers are creating high-tech options to prevent a tragedy, while one teenager has come up with a simple solution. Lisa Mateo reports.
Juan Rodriguez broke down in court as he pleaded not guilty to manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide charges. Police say the Iraq War veteran went to work last Friday and forgot his one-year-old twins were in the back seat. He found them nearly 8 hours later.
My client is inconsolable. He is beside himself in grief.
And on Monday, a 2-year-old died after being left in a van outside this daycare in Florida.
It's a tragedy that happens often, whether it's 70 degrees or 90 outside.
Experts say one easy reminder is to leave a cell phone or a handbag in the back seat so you don't forget a child is back there. Another round of debates between Democratic presidential candidates is being held tonight, and all eyes are on the front runner. That story is still ahead. Plus, delivery drivers are confessing, and you may not like what they have to say. That's coming up in our trending topics.